Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Today I'm starting some of my fall content and I am so excited to do so. You guys know fall is my favorite season. I talk about it constantly. My daughter's name is Autumn, for goodness sake. That's how much I love the fall. I try to decorate my shelf some. It's not the same as my old shelves, you know. I have my lanyard, I have my garland, I have a couple signs, and I have this really fall pumpkin, obviously, and this, you know, it's not 100% the same, so I might shake up my background every once in a while because I got to have some fall foliage and decor in the background, but, you know, it is what it is. So today, we are going to talk about my most anticipated fall book releases. If you guys don't know, I do one at the beginning of the year, talking about the year in its entirety, and of course, I break it down to every season because there's always books I missed or books that haven't been talked about quite yet. So I've done one for spring, I've done one for summer, and here we are for the fall month. So the books I'll be talking about today release in September, October, and November, aka like the fall spooky season, and there is a lot of books per every season, but I would say like fall is probably my favorite for book releases just because there's just so many. Next up, we're going to start with September. And coincidentally enough, the first book I have is The September House by Carissa Orlando, coming out September 5th. What drew me to this one was the cover, because the cover is amazing. And then I read what it was about and I was like, I have to read this. So basically, the one tagline I can tell you about this book, it's a woman determined to stay in her dream home even after it becomes a haunted nightmare, in this compulsively readable, twisty, layered debut novel. So it's this woman, Margaret, and her husband. They buy this beautiful, like, large Victorian house, and they get it for a reasonable price, and she's like, this is amazing, it's, you know, what dreams are made of, only it's not. And they discovered the hauntings. Every September's the walls drip blood. The ghosts of former inhabitants appear, and all of them are terrified of something that lurks in the basement. Most people would flee. Margaret is not most people. And then her husband's like, you know, I can't do this anymore, so he leaves, and she's like, no, I bought this house at a good price. It's my dream house in my dream neighborhood, and blood on the walls and ghosts ain't deterring me. I mean, good for you, but also no freaking way. So then basically, their daughter comes back, Catherine, who knows nothing about the hauntings and things like that. So she comes to stay with her mom, and to make things worse, September has just begun. The hauntings grow more harrowing because there are some secrets the house needs to keep. I mean, this just sounds like it might be a little bit funny, but also creepy, because I mean, a house where the walls drip blood every September, like, holy freaking crap, that's intense. But either way, I am beyond excited to read this. Like, perfect book for this season. Next up, we have another really fun one. It's called Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Maher. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. This one's out September 6th. And this is Once Upon a Time Meets The Office, and this laugh out loud viral TikTok series turned novel. So I don't know. Okay, I'm not that much prevalent on TikTok. I just don't. So I don't know if, like, maybe this was like a funny, like, short story that turned into a book, or I don't know. You'll have to let me know. You much more people that are more into TikTok than me. But either way, the cover really intrigued me, and then I was always the synopsis, and it just says, Assistant 1, a notorious high-ranking villain seeks loyal, level-headed assistant for unspecified office duties, supporting staff for random mayhem, terror, and other dark things in general. Discretion is a must. Excellent benefit. It's just basically about an assistant to the villain, and that sounds really fun to me. I don't know if this is going to be good or bad, but I have hopes. Then we have Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison, coming out September 12th. I have read 2 other Rachel Harrison books. Her books are classified as horror. I don't think they're that scary, and take that from me who gets scared. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, what movie that? I saw some movie recently in theaters, and I saw a trailer for the new Exorcist coming out, and the trailer alone, I was like, this trailer alone could give me nightmares. So just so you know, I'm a scaredy pants. So her books really aren't that scary. I would say maybe they have some horror elements into them, but they're much more about friendship, sisterhood, family, those type of things. And this one, I think for sure, it's about a cynical 20-something must confront her unconventional family's dark secrets in this fiery horror novel. It's all about this character named Vesper who left at 18 and never came back, and mostly because she was told leaving the staunchy religious community she grew up in doesn't mean she could return. But then an envelope arrives at our doorstep, and inside of it is an invitation to Vesper's beloved cousin Rosie's wedding. And basically she goes back, and it says, when Vesper's homecoming exhumes a terrifying secret, she's forced to reckon with her family's beliefs and her own crisis of faith in this deliciously sinister novel. It explores the way family ties can bind us. So I don't know if this could be like, maybe like her family was kind of in a cult or a very like extreme religious type of thing. And you know, like usually when you're like banned from that, you are banned from that for life. So I'm not sure, but I do enjoy her book. So I'm interested in this one. I'm not like crazy excited, but I do plan to read it. Then we have one that I'm so excited for, and that is The Unfortunate Side Effects of Magic and Heartbreak by Brianne Randall. This one comes out September 19th, and it says, for fans of practical magic and Gilmore Girls, just I don't have a wallet, but I don't have money in my pocket, but just take it, you know, like practical magic and Gilmore Girls, like freaking yes. It's all about this character named Sadie who has believed that the curse of 4 heartbreaks that accompanies her magic would be worth the price. But when her grandmother's diagnosed with cancer with only weeks to live and her first heartbreak returns to town after decades, her carefully structured life begins to unravel. And with news that her impending grandmother's death, Sadie's twin brother returns to town, bringing with him deeply buried family secrets that threaten to tear Sadie's world apart. So yeah, I think it's just that she has to keep the strength to keep her family and her magic together. The cover of this alone, chef's kiss, amazing. Sounds interesting, maybe a little bit like hard-hitting, so we'll have to see. I'll say that 50,000 times. And then we have a Christmas book that I'll be reading, but not till December. And that is Faking Christmas by Carrie Winfrey. I have read all of Carrie Winfrey's books, and I really enjoy them. They're just cute, kind of clean romances. This one, like I said, is a Christmas one. It says, Laurel is playing house for the holidays, complete with a fake husband and kids. And so I think it's a girl named Laurel who works as a social media manager for Ohio Tourism Magazine. And I think she has to fake like being a family with this guy and things like that. And it's set during Christmas. I don't need to know much with Christmas books, as long as it's set in Christmas and it's a cute book. Like I'm sold. I am 1,000% sold. Moving on to October. First up, we have a thriller, and that is My Darling Girl by Jennifer McMahon. Hopefully I said that right. Coming out October 3rd. I have read a couple of books from her before and really enjoy them. So this one, it's about a woman who, after taking in her dying alcoholic mother, begins to suspect demonic possession is haunting her family. About her never being a fan of Christmas, and then she takes in her mother, who's been diagnosed with cancer and has weeks to live, but Allison grew up with her mother's alcoholism and violent abuse, and and then when mysterious and otherworldly things start happening upon her mom's arrival, she suspects that her mother is not quite who she seems. I don't know, it sounds creepy. This is going to be a hard book for me to read on a lot of things, because number one, it sounds creepy as mess. Number two, I have an alcoholic parent that lives with me. He doesn't drink anymore, but the reason why he is the way he is a lot is because of alcohol. So whenever I read books with alcoholism in the family, like, it's very, very hard for me, just because I just feel and connect with those characters so deeply. So, and it's, you know, it's a strange, you know, it's just, it's gonna be hard for me, but I'm excited to read it and also scared. Next up, we have another really creepy book, and that is Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead. I've read both of her thrillers and really enjoyed them. She writes really dark and gritty ones. This one is about a small town hometown librarian. Ruth has always felt like an outsider, even as her beloved father rains fire and brimstone warnings from the pulpit. And then the only things townspeople fear more than God and the devil are the myths that haunt the area, like the story of the Lone Man, a vampire figure who steals into sinners' bedrooms. And it sounds creepy. This one, when I read this, it reminded me of Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass. Again, I did not watch it. I just know I've seen some videos and stuff about it, but they sound just so similar. And if it's gonna take that route, it's gonna get creepy. But either way, I really trust Ashley Winstead's writing and thriller. Her thriller books are just 100% amazing, so I'm very excited for this one. Moving on to a holiday book, and that is Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey, coming out also on October 3rd. I'll be reading this in December. This is about a character named Melody, who is the daughter of music royalty. She spends her days restoring old books and avoiding the limelight, but a producer offers her a lot of money to reunite her mother's band on live TV. And then she meets a guy named Dawkins, the lead singer's son, and I don't know much about it. I don't know if it's even Christmassy, but the cover's very Christmassy. So it says, When dealing with the rockstar shenanigans, the 24-hour film group, brawling Santas, and mobs of adoring fans, she feels out of her comfort zone. But Christmas Eve is fast approaching, so it is Christmassy. I've read so many Tessa Bailey books. They're great palate cleansers. I think they're fun. I'll definitely be reading this in December. Then we have The Burnout by Sophie Kinsella. This one comes out October 10th. If you don't know, Sophie Kinsella is a chick lit author that I really, really enjoy. Her past few books, I haven't been a fan of. I haven't really loved a book from her since My Not So Perfect Life, which I feel like was 5 or so years ago. So this one is about a girl named Sasha who says she has had it. She cannot bring herself to respond to another urgent email, participate in the corporate employee joyfulness. She hasn't seen her friends in months. She's hit a wall, and then she goes to a seaside resort she loved as a child, but it's off season, and the hotel is in dilapidated shambles, and then she has to share the beach with this other grumpy guy named Finn, who seems as stretched out as her. So I think it's about a character that's just really burnt out, obviously the title, and she tries to go and kind of reset her life, and maybe it doesn't go according to plan. If you don't know Sophie Kinsella's books, they're fun. They're usually really funny, have a little bit of romance and a lot of character development, like kind of your classic woman's chick lit, if you will. On October 10th, I have Better Hate Than Never by Chloe Leese. I've read a book by her before. She writes a lot of like kind of retellings, and this one is a retelling of The Taming of the Shrew, which I have very high expectations for because my all-time favorite retelling of Taming of the Shrew is my favorite movie of all time, 10 Things I Hate About You. So whenever I hear a book that's also doing Taming of the Shrew, I'm always like, is it gonna be good? So this one's about Katerina. I think that's the characters' names, maybe in the play. I don't know if I'm trying to think about you. And Christopher share backyards as kids, but adults, they won't even share the same hemisphere. And basically, they have a passionate kiss. They realize peace is the last thing that'll ever be possible between them. And, you know, if you know Taming the Shrew, you know Taming the Shrew. Very excited for this one. And I will be comparing it to 10 Things I Hate About You. So This Spells Love by Kate Robb, coming out October 10th. This is about a witch girl named Gemma who gets dumped by her long-term boyfriend. She decides that she's gonna do what everyone does, and she's gonna get drunk with her sister, kooky aunt and best friend, and then they perform a love cleansing spell to forget about her ex, only it goes a little bit too far. She realizes that the silly spell is woke and that she never dated her ex. Her life looks completely different. And spoiler alert, the grass is not always greener on the other side. The worst part of it all, her ex-boyfriend Dax has no clue who she is. So she's trying to figure out how to undo the spell, get back to what it was. And it just sounds like a fun, kooky, witchy time, which I am always down for. Then we have a thriller novella, I believe, The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. I've read a couple of his books before. And this one just says, in which an American art student in London is invited to join a classmate for the holidays, but her family's manor. But behind the holly and pine boughs, secrets are about to unravel. And I don't want to know more about it. Like I said, it's a very short one. I think it's like under 250 pages. So I'm always in the mood for like a Christmas thriller book. They just sound intriguing to me. So I'm intrigued by this one. Then we have probably one of my most anticipated, The Unmaking of June Pharaoh by Adrienne Young, coming out October 17th. She wrote Spells for Forgetting, which I read last year. And like, there's not a lot of reason why I love that book. The atmosphere was great. The writing was great. And I just felt like I was there. The plot wasn't 100% there for me, but I still fell in love with that book. And this one I think I will too. I have no clue what it's about, so we'll find out together. It's in a small mountain town of Jasper, North Carolina, and she is waiting for fate to find her. The Pharaoh women are known for their thriving flower farm and the mysterious curse that has plagued their family line. The whole town remembers that it's been a year since June started seeing and hearing things that weren't there, and then her grandmother passes away, I think, and she discovers the cryptic clues regarding her mother's decades-old disappearance, except they only lead to more questions. And I think her books are just kind of small town, magic-y, very atmospheric, so that's why I'm very, very excited for this one. Moving on to November, we have Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree, coming out November 7th. I read Legends and Lattes this year, fell in love with it. This one is kind of a prequel to that one. So, and Legends and Lattes, we follow Viv, who is an orc and is opening up her own coffee shops. This is before she did all that. And it's her career with a notorious mercenary company, Rakeham's Ravens. And then I think she has to spend hours at a bookshop or something like that. I don't know. it just sounds fun, and I really loved Legends and Latte, so I'm very excited for this one. Then in November, I totally forgot. I did not realize it was coming out this soon. The sequel to the Fourth Wing, The Iron Flame. I should probably pre-order this now so I can maybe think about reading it when it comes out. If you don't know, Fourth Wing blew up on BookTube, BookTok, Bookstagram, whatever you want to call it. I fell under the spell of it. I liked it, so I would definitely be reading this whenever it comes out, and I will be pre-ordering it right after I finish this video because I don't want to wait 50 years to get a copy. It's a fantasy book about dragons, and that's all I need to know, honestly. The last book I have in December, because there's not a lot of December releases, and that's The Engagement Party by Darby Kane, coming out December 5th. And it says, and then there was none meets I Know What You Did Last Summer. Well, sign me up for any 90s thriller movie all day. Like, I love 90s thriller. Like, I think I just watched Urban Legends not too long ago. Was it great? No. But did I have fun rewatching it? Yes, I did. But basically it's about, I think, all these characters that come back to somebody dying 12 years later after college, and things kind of get going, things get kind of going from there. So there you have all of the books I am anticipating this fall. Like I said, there is a lot. There always is a lot. Will I read all of these? Probably not, but I would really like to hope so. I'd love to know what books you're most anticipating for this coming next 3 months. I would love to hear them because I'm sure I'll miss some. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.